Now, how are you, student? Week 8 of Digital Media 03. I still saw some students delivering the assignment 2 by Sunday just yesterday. Because the last day to deliver was Sunday. Alright. Now, from this week, if you haven't grouped, you haven't got a group, or you haven't worked on your assignments 3 and 4, okay, you're a little bit late. This week you should be able to group already and sit down to pick up some music, okay, and distribute the work between you. All right. Now, during the consultation next week, I realized that, okay, I reckon that most of you are not familiar with what is VJ is. Okay. So this week I'm going to give you a small breakdown, okay, of what is VJ and what is the process, basically, to break down the music into different scenes, and then you can distribute it to your peers. All right, a very little workshop. Now, I used to do this for the MS3, but since this semester we switched to real-time audio reactive, so I didn't want to show you this, because I think with the new workflow, with the audio reactive, it's going to be more improvise for you to deliver the assignment instead of doing storyboard. But I reckon maybe it's easier for you to do that. Okay? So, first thing first, okay, a couple of questions that I hear from the consultations. You don't know what is VJ? There are some other visual reference for your assignment 3 and 4 that I sent on the announcement over here. This show over here is basically now silent. Close the door, Khương ơi. This show over here, which is 2 years ago, 2023, the MS3 student working with V2X Academy, and the workflow is there's a DJ playing, and there's a student over here playing visual in the back. Okay, I'm gonna explain about VJ tomorrow in the history of VJ more, but basically the real workflow is audio flowing to the laptop or the computers of the VJ, and then the VJ curate or play the visual on the screen. Most important thing that you need to understand in VJ is audio reactive. Okay, what is audio reactive? It means that the graphic that you show on the screen has to respond to the music. All right, and Patrick has done a demo on audio reactive. Is that correct? What did he show? What is the animation that reacts to the music? Hello? Huh? What was the animation? What have you learned in the audio reactive demo? Now.
Audio only has one measurement unit, while the geometry they have three, like the X, Y, Z. So we have to
convert it.
Yeah, so
and then what is the final animation you created out of that demo?
from the unit that we convert, basically we played around with trying to like causing noise. So try to make the geometry into different shapes and reacts to the music. It's like
when the beat hits, that you see the shape change.
Well, it change according to like every beat that the audio has. So
Okay. Okay, that's the basic. All right. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of scenes over here. All right. Okay, so what you're seeing here is basically the 3D model over here react to the music. Okay, it's just the positions of the 3D objects that has been synced to the audio. Okay, in the past, the MST would, the VJ component was done in Resolute with pre-rendered animation, meaning that the DJ is going to give us the track first, and then we have to break down the music and then keyframe in Blender and then render it out. It takes longer. But now with Tab Designer Audio Reactive, you just need to use the audio reactions and pair that or reference that values to the positions of the arm here, for example, and it's going to react. Okay? And when I talk about VJ here, you need to understand that audio reactive here just simply means that in every scene there should be one element, graphic element, that is reactive to the music or responding to the music. Okay? In this case, the arm. And then you see the flashing images in the back over here. It reacts to the music as well. Same thing over here. Okay. Flashing images is the easiest thing you can do for audio reactive, but of course, strobing and flashing only works when the music is very heavy. Okay, when the music reach the climax. All right. Oh, this one easier to see. Okay, every beats over here, the coffins go up and down. Okay, that's just easy as that. So when I grade your VJ set, the performance, I want to see audio reactive. Is that clear? Okay, so now the assignment is basically about turning animations into audio reactive. Okay, basically you create an animations, either scale, strobing, positions, change color, okay, change texture, react to the beats. Okay, ổn không nhỉ? Yeah. Couple of other resources. If you search for this V2X, Akami X, or MIT, you're gonna see other performance as well. So for example, this one, So the rotations over here every 4 beats, okay, it's going to rotate 160 degrees. All right. But the appearance of the appearance of the images over here, every bit is appear one picture. Okay, so and this set is particularly hard because the music that Phong play is a more experimental set over here, but the student over here perform really well. Okay, and then you have other couples of reference from social media over here. This one is my elective course. Student did some VJ with Tab Designer, okay? But you're gonna notice that the qualities and the workflow from this resources over here, resource over here is different from the current workflow we explore. That one is people have the music first, and then they develop the set based on, basically they create a music video, all right? But now with Tab Designer, the reason why I don't ask you to do storyboard, okay, for this assignment is because it has real-time audio reactive. But I reckon during the consultation you're still very confused, okay? So I need to send you all this resource, and I'm speaking right now to demystify this kind of thing. Is it clear now? A little bit clearer, all right? And then for the music picking, okay, I'm going to explain a little bit about the music breakdown as well as the structure of the song. Okay. Now, on electronic tracks, normally speaking, or any kind of music tracks, only speaking is composed of 3 components: intro, verse, and outro. Okay. And in the verse over here, you should have verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, up to 6 verse, okay, depending on the duration of the song. And in electronic music, basically, every time you hear the music, it's just going to be a repetition of a pattern of notes or combination of notes, and then it being layered by different instruments. Okay, so what is the implication over here for your visual set? It's mean that you can have one asset appearing in the first verse, and then in the second verse you can add more elements into it. Okay, I'm going to do a very quick breakdown over here. Now, when you have the audio tracks from Free Music Archive, for example, you're going to put it into an audio editing software or video editing software such as After Effects. You open up the wave file, listen to the music, okay? So this is when the intro stop, okay? Right, this beat over here. Okay, and you can use the marker over here to mark. For example, this one is going to be intro. And then you use colors over here intro, you zoom in. And then you're going to add verse 1 into this. So this is the first verse of the song, Yellow. Alright, keep listening. Okay, and here is going to be the breakdown of the music. Basically, the intensity of the song is going to reduce a little bit. Breakdown, and give it a pink colors. Okay, from the beat that you just hear over there, this is what is called build up. So basically the song prepare to go back to the climax. Build up. All right. Okay, you hear this drop over here, and then this is the climax of the song, okay, or verse 2 of the song. Okay, verse 2, climax, and red, and then you have the rest of the song, which is from this drop over here is gonna be outro. And lavenders. Okay, so this is basically you break down a song into smaller sections, alright? And then what you do next is you create a storyboard for each of the scenes over here. You know how to create a storyboard already, right? Yes? Alright, so you say intro, this is the time code, what is going to happen in the scene over here. What is the asset? You draw it out. For example, I have a electric pole over here. It's going to scale up and down with the beats, all right? And then camera movement go in and out, okay, with the beat as well. And then you note what is this scene 1, and then you place it, you show it to everyone in the group, and you say, okay, person A, you're going to be responsible for developing the 3D asset of this, okay? Person B, you're going to develop the network for this, etc., etc. So it's easier for you to distribute the work between yourself. Ồ đúng nhờ? Yeah? Can. Okay? But I reckon it's just easier for you to do that. Okay? Because most of you are familiar with storyboard and pre-planning. Okay? And then coming back to the thing about the verse over here, if you listen to electronic music, most of the time you're gonna see layers of the same pattern of music being repeated. Application for you in VJ, you have one asset as in the first scenes. Okay? For example, the character scaling over here, and then second verse, maybe you add some background, okay, with some buildings rising up. For example, that's your verse 2 and visual 2. Okay? But just one note over here. In electronic music, every 16 bit, 32 bits, the music is going to change. Okay? New instrument is gonna come, or new elements of music is going to be introduced. So corresponding to that, you should add either new effects, okay, or you add new objects into the scenes, okay, to make it less boring for the audience. Because if you just play one asset from the beginning to the end, people is going to get bored. All right. And what do I mean by effects over here? You can either do strobing, you can either change the background, okay? You can either introduce new 3D asset into the scenes. You can rotate the camera, okay? So basically that should be the music breakdown, and a little bit about music breakdown and preparations for the visual. Okay? Planning for the visual. Is that clearer for you now? Yes or no? Yes. Yes? Okay? So if you're familiar with this workflow, do it. Okay? Just to give you more planning. Okay? You don't need to include it in the research documents, but in assignment 3, if you present to me 2D mode, right, in Tab Designer, 2 sketches, you can take also the storyboard out and you say, this is what's going to happen, okay? And then you show me the asset that you have done for 2 remaining visual in assignment 4. Ồ đúng nhỉ? Yeah. One other thing that I noticed, because you're working in groups, all right? Everyone is going to be working on a certain visual, okay? And how to achieve uniform and unity in group works, okay? You define a direction that everyone is going to follow along. Okay? What does it mean? in simple term, it means that you use the same palette, color palette, you use the same assets. Okay, for example, one person do characters, the other scene you put the same character inside of it. All right, or you put an element of the character, maybe the head only or the hands only of the same characters inside of that scene. And the color palettes, you use red for the whole for visual, okay, and it's going to be more unified for the whole teams. Okay, avoid everyone working separately, and then week 11 you started to unify together. Okay, work from the beginning. You define what is the look, what is the, you plan ahead what is the scenes using storyboard as well. You can do that, and then you distribute the work for each other. So that is more unified toward the end of the assignment. Is that okay? Yeah? Ổn không nhỉ? Yes. Now, today we're going to learn in the lab sessions, okay? We're going to learn how to optimize, okay? Objects, 3D objects for Touch Designer, okay? And I finished the part about renderings, Mixamo characters in Touch Designer. Okay. Now last time we have basically render out this, not render out, but we have basically, we have basically be able to put this character from Mixamo inside of Touch Designer. Is that correct? Last time, right? So basically, if you want to render it out, you just add in a geometry. Sorry, not geometry. You add in a render top. All right, and then you just add a light. And a camera. Camera viewport is okay. Dot dot. And then render to out. Top. The light missing, so I'm going to add a light in. Yes, light I have already. Camera viewport. Yes, drag and drop this into camera. And then you have the character render. Nice thing about this workflow, you have the material ready and also the animations run natively in Touch Designer. Okay. A tips over here, when you render out this FBX animations, sometimes you're not going to see the objects, because basically by default, if I put this one to 1, you're not going to see any characters because the size is too big. You have to reduce it, and then you're gonna see it. All right, 0, 0.5. Okay, and then translate -1 on the y-axis. Okay, and then you can use this object to do instancing. You can render the scene out. Okay, you can make a strobing animations. For example, just going to show you very quickly strobing animations, composite, and from the render over here, if I composite this one and composite it together, I'm going to move this one on top, constant, and then operations over here, I change it to over. Oh. And then, for example, keyboard in, and I say it's going to jump from 0 to 1. Okay, so keyboard int top reference, so I can do this kind of strobing effects, okay, on the character. You can use also MIDI controller as well, okay, but limit the strobing effect only to the climax of the songs. Okay, don't do strobing from the beginning to the end because it's going to be boring. All right. Or you can use audio reactive and put the audio reactive audio analysis, and I'm going to drag and drop the track over here. Put this one in, and then for the kick over here, I'm going to turn it on. So every kick now, I can use this one to audio out, audio device out. And this one going to be output as an out. Select chops, so I can select this kick over here, right? Okay, so just a very quick demo of audio reactive over here. Did Patrick show you this audio analysis palette? Yeah. And then you have, for example, all right, maybe the scale of these objects. All right, you the camera viewport over here, you can use this we know that if we move this one, it's going to go in and out, right? So like we can use the high over here, and if we convert this into a math chops, and before that we need to select the kick. All right, math chops over here, and we want to limit, for example, we want it to go from 2 to 5, something like this. Okay, we can use the math chops over here, and we say 3 to 5, and then the math chops over here, it basically convert the value of 0 to 1 from the kick over here to the value of 3 to 5 for the camera, and then we drag and drop it to the pivot distance over here, chop reference, and now maybe too fast a what is it, me pivot distance, sorry, not in the pivot distance but in the translate over here. So kick, chop reference, it jumps because over here I'm going to add in a filter chops. All right, just to make some kind of ease in and ease out for the movement. See how it's moving in and out. Maybe the I'm going to add in not just 5, but the math over here, if I increase it to 10, $20. Okay, and then this one I can use it for also the rotation. For example, 0 rotate over here. What if I rotate this one on the x-axis, or let's do scale. Scale is easier, yeah. So 1.2, for example. One and 2, and then for the scale over here, chop reference. Let's just turn this off for now. One, No kick, eh? Why the uniform scale doesn't change? Because this one is the yeah, should be on this scale. Translate. Okay, it's gonna be 6 and then to 0. Okay, translate. Chop reference, and then over here 6 0. Switch the composition to multiply, it's gonna give you this kind of strobing effect but without the Y part. Okay, and if you change the constant to and if you have like 3 constant and then you have a switch between like 3 of them over here, you have an RGB kind of effect for the colors. Alright, and you have a switch over here. And index. Com over here. And if you use a cow chop, alright, what does the cow chop do is basically give you a loop min and max over here, and you can do 0 to 2, which means constant 1, constant 2, constant 3. Okay, and then you with the select chops, you put it in the input over here. Okay, so now you're gonna see that it's going to count up to 2 and then it resets, and then you can use this one to control the switch chop reference. So now RGB looping. No beats. And then you add a feedback, right? and transform over here. Feedback to the feedback. Transform maybe 1 1. And mode is over. And then you have the không nhờ? So the feedback over here, if you have the MIDI controller on this one, for example, you'll be able to make some kind of kaleidoscope effects with it as well. Alright. No beat, so there's no graphic yet. And you rotate it. And if you scale, for example, 0.99, 0.99, and reset. Because over here, when I do the feedback with the scale, every time it's going to minus 0.1. So that's why the scale is going to remain on the screen and it's create this kind of effects. Let's see it in full screen. What if I do this as 1-1? And then maybe do a little bit of rotation. So between 50 and 50. Okay, so just to demystify, okay, how you're gonna apply audio reactive. Okay, basically after the kick over here, all right, you put a filter so that you have an easy in and is out of the animations. Gaussians over here basically means it's in and it's out. If I change this to box, it's gonna be a little bit more choppy. You see if I display this one as if I use the trail over here to display the chop, this is what is the grab animation grab look like. Okay, the box and the Gaussian, you see everything is smooth out. Okay, box over here gonna be a little bit choppy. Okay, and sharpens is gonna be like this, just on and off. Ổn không nhỉ? Okay, so maybe Patrick explained the technique, but not really talk about like how to apply it. So I think it's beneficial for you to explain, to demystify. It's nothing like complicated, but like when you got the kick coming out of the audio analysis over here, you find a parameter in your animation, rotation, scale. You can change color. You can change the texture as well. If you have different texture, you put it into a switch like this. You can do like switching between texture, just like the set that I did over here. So this is audio reactive, eh? I have a 3D model, and what I do, a little bit of feedback over here, and then the texture keep changing according to the beat. Okay, just a switch parameter. And then some geometry distortions. So basically, just to give you some example of what is audio reactive, all right? And we finished the FBX importation into Blender. Now, in Blender, I want to talk about optimization the file for file optimizations. So if you download the blend file from week 8, okay, you can follow along with this as well. Now, for example, you have a file that you download from the internet, okay, which is from, for this assignment, you are allowed to use any model from Sketchfab, just to name a few of the websites that you can download the model from. All right, and normally they come with very high quality texture and high quality mesh, which is sometimes not very necessary for our VJ sets. Okay, one thing you can do is you can go into the modifier over here, and I'm going to turn on the statistic over here. The current model is at 42,000 faces. Okay, and then we can add modifier, decimate. So this modifier is basically going to reduce the number of verts and polygon on your models. Okay, I'm going to turn on the wireframe, but the downside of it is going to change a little bit the topologies as well as the UV map. Okay, if I type in 0.5, which is reduce the half of the geometry, you're gonna see what it does is basically trying to collapse all of the adjacent geometry together so that it can reduce the number of geometries over here, but you see some distortions on the model. Okay, if you click on apply now, the model is reduced to 20,000 faces only, and then you go into edit mode. You can manually modify this kind of distortions. All right, you can reduce this kind of distortions on the model. Okay, but this one is the correct way that you can reduce the verts of an objects. Okay, don't use the remesh modifier, because I've seen some of you using this, and basically it's create this kind of mesh over here which is very messy, and then it compromise your UV map and you lose all the texture and everything. Okay, decimate is the one that you go with. Okay, and afterward you can export it as FBX. Okay, and import it into Touch Designer. All right. You see, I reduce half of the geometry, the number of the geometry, with very little distortions on the model over here. Okay. So when you import the model into Touch Designer, you have animation, and you see on the top over here the frame rate over here doesn't run at the frame rate that you have over here. For example, 25. Okay, and you see over here, this is the number of frame rate that you got of the real-time rendering in Touch Designer. If it reduces under 24, it means that you have a lack animations, and that means that you need to go back to Blender, reduce the geometries, and then also you go into the texture. Okay, and you see all this texture over here. If you open it up with Photoshop, all right. and you see the size of the image over here is 2K is okay, all right, but if it's larger than 2K, you're going to resize it to 2K or 2048 by 2048 maximum, and then find any texture that you don't use, and then delete it, okay, in your projects. It's gonna save a lot of energy and resources to render out the animations. Okay, I think I explained everything already, and we are a little bit early in the last session today. Is there any question regarding the assignments, workflow, 3D exporting? Guys? Okay, if you have no questions, I declare dismiss a little bit earlier for today, and we see each other tomorrow on the lecture. Is that okay? Yeah?